angel numbers, activation codes, and synchronicities. Hey guys, it's Tarot and Beyond. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing the second installment of the Angel Numbers series. So if you want to check out the other one, I will link it in the description below. It is 1112223333, but today we're looking at the 4s, 5s, and 6s. So I will put the numbers up on the screen just in case you want to see them visually, and you can select the group that corresponds to that number sequence in the description box below, or use the chapter notes to jump ahead to your chosen reading or readings. If you do feel called to more than one number sequence, that's totally fine. You can watch them all or just one or in a particular order. If you see this number sequence at any time in the future, you can always come back to this video as well to refresh your memory or to get additional messages. All right, make your selection and we'll see you in your readings. All right, hi group number 1, you guys chose 444, and we're going to start with the description of 4s, and then we're going to go into tarot and oracle. So 4s can represent stability, structure, and protection. 4 is an energy that is very stable. It feels to me like it's connected to the planet Saturn in astrology. For some reason that's coming through. But yeah, I definitely associate the number 4 with hard work, discipline, creating structures or systems, organizing things so that things are more stable. So this can be projects, habits, routines, or even spiritual stability and protection therein. Sometimes 4s can be related to angel protection or some kind of spiritual protection that is around you, creating more stability in your life. So let's take a look at the messages for you, specifically in regard to seeing the number sequences 444. I also want to mention that these number sequences are also activation codes. So yes, they are synchronicities that are bringing your attention to a particular message, but they're also activation codes for consciousness. So you have the 2 of Swords, which is making a decision impartially. The number 4 is a little bit more emotionally detached than, say, for example, a 3, which is more focused on the creative expression and the higher mind combined with the creativity of the lower expression. But with the 2 of Swords here in your 4 reading, this is telling me that Spirit basically wants you to look at things with a less subjective eye, if that makes sense. It's kind of like being more objective so that you can see the real logical, analytical side of the situation without any biases kind of clogging up your filter. I'm trying to explain what they're showing me. It's like, taking away the filter of cognitive biases so that you can see things more clearly. And I think part of this will be very anchoring and stabilizing for you so that you can make better decisions and trust your logic and your intuition to be combined, especially when it relates to issues to do with heartbreak. The 3 of Swords is a tough energy. And this one is kind of telling me that this is to do with something from within your heart that has been skewed. They keep showing me this filter. It's like a cognitive bias filter. That's the best way I can describe it. And it's kind of like the mind is pre-programmed to see something in a certain way, possibly because of past hurts or pains or distortions or disturbances based on your subjective experience. That's why they're saying, take it back and make it objective. Look at things in a very detached sort of way, very logical, very analytical, and kind of take emotion out of it in this particular case. Now, that's not always going to be good advice, but in this particular case, if you're seeing 444, that's kind of what they want you to do, is to take emotion out of it and just look at things very logically. Because in this particular case, the example is that, let's say, for example, there was some past heartbreak, and that's not necessarily the truth of all relationships or situations, but because of that past experience, you formed an association with relationships being painful or causing heartbreak, or there being betrayal involved, which is not necessarily objectively true, but that's the subjective experience that's been internalized. So they want you to really focus on what's logically true and to unbias and unfilter that distorted part of the mind. Knight of Wands. So this could have been situations that kind of left you feeling unsure as to whether things were going to work out your way. It feels like a lack of stability. The Knight of Wands is a wonderful energy in its higher expression. You know, it can be very creative, very intuitive, very passionate, and very action oriented. It's like go, go, go. If you need the motivation, Knight of Wands is great. However, in its shadow side, and every energy has a both light and dark side, the Knight of Wands is really impulsive and sometimes reckless. It is kind of like a little flame that can be used productively if contained well, but if left to its own devices can burn down the house or the forest or whatever it is and cause undue damage. So I feel like there's something here in the mind that Spirit is trying to bring your attention to when you're seeing the 4 sequences around creating this internal stability so that this emotional kind of leaping to conclusions, jumping to conclusions, or just assuming things based on previous associations is not going to create damage in your life any more than it already has. It's like not perpetuating that same cycle and going in loops around and around and around. And so it's creating this stability that really helps you to move out of that pattern. And they're also protecting you in those moments where there might be a bias, and they're trying to help you see it a little bit more clearly. 6 of Wands, so that you can come out of this feeling victorious and confident in yourself. That's one of the light aspects of the Knight of Wands, very confident energy. So it is something that you can put into action and be successful at. And if in the past that was not the experience, that's what they want you to overwrite. That's the phrase the word they just gave me was overwrite. You got to overwrite those old programs that are not actually useful in your goal achievement. And that's essentially what this 4 is bringing to your attention. It's like you've got to create a better system that's going to work for you instead of having that system kind of pre-programmed but counterintuitive, like counterproductive to your goal and to your success, more importantly. Okay, I do feel this one as well. Ace of Cups. It's a new way of thinking, but in this case, they also want you to feel differently too, because the cups are about the emotions. And what I'm seeing here, there's cat hairs on the table. I'm using the Soul Cat Tarot deck, and Kitty likes to sit on this table sometimes, so she sheds. So it's, shedding. Yeah, it's like shedding, washing away, purifying and cleansing any of these emotional biases that have been integrated through those negative experiences and left you with a sour taste in your mouth. And now you'll be able to kind of move those out. And as a form of protection, now you are insulated from experiencing those same things again. Because if you don't perpetuate it, then you don't see that experience in your reality repeat. But you kind of have to cleanse the system. There's a certain level of reorganization that has to occur, and that's why 4s are so great. It's because they can help you to see what's actually going on in a more objective observer way, and then be able to take action to change that system because it doesn't work for you. It's like being unconsciously pessimistic about a certain thing, or maybe in general, and then seeing that always play out because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're a divine creator being, and so what you focus on, what you believe, is what you're going to create. And so through misdirected will, that's what you're going to build. And the 4s are about that structure. So it's like, that's the structure you're creating. That's the world you operate within because you're the creator of your reality. So you kind of have to cleanse that out, purge it out, think more clearly, see more clearly, emotionally detach, but in a healthy way, so that those emotions are not being suppressed or bypassed, but they're actually just being looked at a little bit more in a healthy, detached. Yeah, I keep getting that energy of detachment. That's why I keep repeating it. The Sun. Oh, I love this for you. So success and victory with the 6 of Wands and then the Sun card. This is an indication that this is going to be for your highest good, group number 1. And so when you see these 4s, Spirit is basically saying, hey, take a look at the way you're seeing things, because the Sun is like the conscious mind. This is our clarity. And when in its highest expression, it can give us insight into things that we may have missed or that may have been distorted. The opposite of the Sun is the Moon, which is the unconscious mind. It's what's below the tip of the iceberg that we don't see, and that can really drive a lot of our behaviors and also actions. But if you can bring it into the light of day, you can see it more clearly, and you can start to work with it more intentionally and consciously, which is the point of the 4s. Page of Swords on the bottom of the deck. So again, this is to do with changing your mindset, and being a little bit more open-minded is going to be helpful. You know, fours can be a very, like I said, Saturnian energy. So it's like structure. So there needs to be some kind of structure to deconstructing and reorganizing the mind. And going about this in a highly logical way is advised. So having some kind of a plan to move forward can be really helpful here, but also following what feels right. So it's this balance, right? It's like 2 and 2. You need to have the balance between heart and mind, the soul, and what you're creating physically in your reality. Okay, let's get some oracle cards for you, group 1. So we're going to use the Amenti Oracle. So in regard to these number 4 sequences for group 1, Spirit, what are these numbers? Oh, I do good. I do good. You're doing good. It's successful. You're bringing awareness to certain things. And you're being, I keep getting the word insulated. I used it once. They just gave it to me again. You're being insulated from pain. Look at, she says, the card says, I do good, but she's got a tear running down her cheek. And so the book also standing out to me reminds me of Page of Swords energy, which is like learning something new, being curious, being in beginner mindset, not being so fixed and stubborn in your ways of thinking, which can be the shadow side of Saturn, but instead using those towards a more directed goal. Now, the tear in her eye, I think, is relating to the 3 of Swords, right? This is the pain of the past, that it's like maybe you were trying to do something good, but it ended up backfiring and biting you in the ass, and it was not successful. Well, now you have the opportunity to overcome that by continually choosing to see it in a different light and bypassing some of the distortions. Yeah, they keep showing me those distortions again. So not allowing those distortions to rule the roost, you know? What else, Spirit? I embrace the all. I feel like astrology is important here. I saw this image on this card and it kind of reminded me of like the astrology wheel. Sacred geometry could be important here. It's kind of like cycles of time and seeing the bigger picture. The sun and moon are also related to astrology and cycles of time. So again, I feel like this is identifying patterns. Pattern recognition is really, really crucial when we're looking at, you know, rewriting these programs and deconditioning the unconscious and the conscious mind. So doing good for yourself, I think, is going to be really about cleansing these aspects of the mind by embracing the all. It's like seeing things a little bit more holistically, while at the same time being able to understand the parts and the pieces. So it's literally both. You're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, in the sense that, you know, not by using the intellect, getting rid of the intuition. No, it's both. You have to have both, because that's what creates the stability. So embracing the all here is like seeing the patterns, recognizing those repeating sequences and those different ways of tracking cycles, and then also paying attention to how that feels. Ace of Cups, how that feels, and then using that information logically in the mind to learn more about how to create a smoother flow towards your goals that you want to create. Okay, let's go in with the angel answers for group number 1, 444. I actually feel this card. Remain positive. That's what I'm saying. Like, I use the example of pessimism. So Spirit's speaking very clearly here. They want you to remain positive. And that's the Sun card. It's like the most positive card in the deck. It's like the perpetual optimist. And in this case, it's intentional optimism. And I talk about this a lot on my channel. There's many readings I've mentioned intentional optimism, which is my conscious approach to life and being a responsible creator soul. Doing intentional optimism as a practice, no matter what the situation externally or even internally is looking like, will help to positively influence the results and the outcomes that you actually see and experience. So not only do you feel better on the inside, but you're also able to influence your reality in the direction that you want to go, where there's more success and a greater sense of ease in what it is that you're doing. It's not necessarily about controlling your external environment. It's more so about being able to redirect it at will. So remain positive, because that's what's going to help you do good in this situation. And I just heard the word recover from some things from the past that may have destabilized you. I actually feel the one on top as well. Ask your angels. You know, 4s can also be associated with angels, archangels specifically. So ask your angels, talk to your angels, group number 1. They want you, if you need help clearing your mind, if you need help recovering from something painful, challenging, or shifting the approach that your unconscious thoughts are taking. Because sometimes, you know, we go into autopilot and we just start going back into these loops of it's not going to work out, and it's not going to end up well, or this isn't possible, or negative, you know, and that's completely normal and very human. So don't worry if that's happening. Don't beat yourself up. Just be aware of it, you know, because if you're aware of it, you can start to counter that a little bit more consciously and intentionally. But ask your angels for help specifically, because they're going to come in and help you to heal something. The Sun card can be about healing. Ace of Cups can be about healing. 3 of Swords is something that needs to be healed. So in asking for support, which again is what 4s represent. It's like the 4 legs of the table or chair. It holds it up. It supports it so that there's a nice stable base to work on or build on or do whatever you want. It's kind of like the 4 pillars in this image. You know, it's the 4 pillars holding up the roof. That's the number 4. So ask your angels and they'll be there to support you. But they also, here's another thing. They cannot help you unless you ask, because free will is the primary law of the universe. This is like one of the very first distortions of the universe. And I mean distortion in a good way in this case. It's more like one of the primary laws. Let's just put it that way. And so essentially, you know, we have to will it. We have to ask for it. We have to take action in that direction for it to work for us. So if you want to work with the angels or allow them to work with you, that's the way to do it. I feel those 2 cards. Asking for it, you know, set the intention, be clear. So it shall be. Ascended Master, Babaji, and Diamond. So again, getting very clear and then manifesting that intentionally. So it shall be is you being able to manifest and create your reality. So a lot of that does come with responsibility. That's why I associate 4s with Saturn, is because Saturn is like the wise teacher that really challenges us to take responsibility for what we can control. Because in doing that, we're able to do more intentional hard work towards something and build a stable foundation. So you can make this happen, group number 1. You just kind of have to see the patterns, work with them proactively, and ask for help when you need it. So get the support you need, and then you're going to be able to move forward and transform. The Untamed, Goddess Freya and Amber. I actually saw something about Goddess Freya this morning, so this kind of tracks. I always pay attention to what happens during my day, before, during, and after a reading, because it's usually all connected. That's just kind of how spirit works. It's like everything kind of leads to the next thing, breadcrumbs, you know? So the Goddess Freya here, I wonder what this is kind of talking about. Because I don't know too much about the history of Freya. I'm not super well versed in that mythology, Norse mythology. But I'm just going to let her speak to us. I think, yeah, that's what I'll do, because I do feel like there's a message specifically from her regarding this untamed energy. But it's like my conscious mind can't see it. So let's get my unconscious into the equation here and channel that out. Okay, so Goddess Freya, what is the message for group number 1 in regard to repeating sequences of 4s? Okay, she's showing me her in what looks like a sled or kind of like a chariot. It's something between a sled and a chariot, like a horse-drawn sled. I don't know if this is associated with her, but it is giving me like forward momentum energy. And it does remind me of the actual chariot card in the tarot, which is about planning and creating like kind of like an attack plan or a strategy. That's the better word for it. Yeah, it's like creating a strategy for your success and then kind of charging forward using that discipline, but also taming these wild energies to work for you. So it's like the wild parts of the mind are now brought into the conscious mind, and you can actually use them to your benefit and direct them with your will, because as you will it, so it shall be. So it's kind of like the Untamed here is talking about taming the mind, creating those structures and stability plans of action so that you can rein in these really wild parts of the self into a directed force, directed action. And that's kind of what the Knight of Wands can indicate as well. It's like you've got control of the reins, and you have all this fire and passion and all of this energy that's really raring to go here, but it just kind of needs to be controlled. And that's what the fours are representing to you, is protecting yourself through the responsibility of taking control, and also receiving the support you need to be able to do that. Yeah, so that is what I see for you, group number 1. This is a beautiful message from the number 4s, your angels, the goddess Freya, and from your subconscious mind for you to really step into that power, which comes with responsibility, right? With great power comes great responsibility. My favorite quote of all time. And being able to control that and direct it towards your goal, and you'll be successful. All right, guys, so that is what I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. I hope it helped. There's many different personal reasons that you may be seeing the number 4, so this is just one of them. It could give you some additional information, but take what resonates and leave the rest. I also recommend writing down what you're thinking, seeing, or experiencing around the time that you are seeing the number 4s around you. I always recommend having a synchronicity journal, like go to the dollar store, get a cheap little notebook, and just write down all of the repeating things that you see. Because first of all, as you observe it, you direct your energy towards it, you're going to see more. And you're going to be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together. You'll see the systems and the cycles, and you'll be able to work with them more consciously and intentionally, which gives you more power. But if you want to learn more about how to speak the language of spirit, I am hosting an in-depth 6-month course over 12 individual sessions that we're going to be diving deep into how to unlock your magic within. So this is learning to work with your intuition, learning to understand synchronicities, learning to expand and enhance your psychic abilities and your relationship with spirit. That can be your higher self, your guides, angels, the universe, God, source, creator. So if you're interested in that, check out Unlocking the Magic Within. You can find the link in the description box below. I believe booking will open up mid-January, so keep your eye on that, and I hope to see you there in the course. I love you guys, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye! All right, hi group number 2. Welcome to your reading. You guys chose 555. So we're going to get tarot and oracle, but I also just want to start off by kind of describing what the number 5 represents, and especially kind of what I've experienced working with repeating sequences of 5s. So this is an angel number or an activation code that relates to freedom. So 5s can show you where you need to expand or adapt, where things need to change, sometimes abruptly, and it can involve travel or movement physically. So anything that is impeding your freedom, keeping you kind of stuck and stagnant in energies of 5, there's usually some kind of need to move with the flow. It's like the wind is blowing, and if you don't move with it, then things can snap or break. So it's really important to have that freedom of movement, to be able to adapt and flow with the energy so that things can unfold in a conducive way to your success. And you won't always see what that is, right? Like when you're in the midst of 5 energy, things can be a little bit almost like chaotic, because it's like everything is changing at once and you don't really know why or what's happening or where you're meant to be going. So it's a very good time to really just follow your intuition and trust where this movement is kind of calling you. So let's get some information about the number 5 sequences that you guys are seeing and what it means for you. I actually filled these 3 cards. We'll get more, but let's start with that first. Okay, you have the Hanged Cat, which is like the opposite of 5 energy. This is where you're not moving, things are not progressing, there's just like some stagnancy. And that's why 5 comes in, right? It's like it wants to shake things up. It knows that you can't stay in that stagnant place forever. You need to move. So this is kind of, it's a good thing, it's a blessing. It helps to get you out of a rut. That is the blessing of 5s, and oftentimes they do it in a very fun way, but if you're not willing to move or you're not willing to adapt, it can be a little uncomfortable. If you're more of like a stick in the mud type of person, not saying that you are group number 2, just if you have that kind of approach, 5s can feel uncomfortable, but if you're more open to free flowing, you're gonna love it. You have the Strength card. Wow. Look at him all bound up here in these nets. Yeah, it feels like the 5s are coming in to break you free from a cycle or pattern that you felt really stuck, group number 2. So this is a really good, helpful energy. This is the way of spirit guiding you to freedom, and having the strength to be able to free yourself is part of that. You know, spirit will give you these opportunities. They will present you with these synchronicities and things like that, and maybe even just random stuff that seems to just happen, but ultimately it's for your highest good, in the sense that it's going to reposition you. And you have the 2 of Pentacles as well. It's going to reposition you. It's going to help you to create more balance physically. I know that this is a hammock, but look, isn't it interesting that we have the net capturing or containing this one cat, and then this one, the net is the hammock that's kind of allowing him to relax. So that's really like an interesting way of seeing the net energy. It's like, is it keeping you stuck or is it helping you to relax? And the 5s are there to help you to find a way to not only relax, but to just kind of like swing with things and flow with things, and trust the process a little bit more. Okay, we got 3 more. The King of Wands. I like that. Can be about creativity. I'm getting Sagittarius energy from this particular King of Wands in this spread. So again, 5s can relate to travel. Sagittarius is related to travel, expansion, growth. It's the energy of Jupiter. And I was also getting Uranus as well. I don't know why I'm getting planets in group 1 for the 4s. I got the planet Saturn. So this is just kind of like random. I've never associated the planets in astrology with numerology, but I'm sure there's overlap. Uranus is about like these unexpected changes that happen kind of out of nowhere. It's like, you know, sometimes it's having the rug pulled out from under you. Sometimes it's a really magical miracle type of situation where it's a surprise in a good way. Jupiter is a blessing. So I'm more inclined to believe that this is going to be a surprise that frees you and gives you the strength to be able to find this balance where you're able to kind of relax and enjoy yourself and expand and explore. The Ace of Swords. It's giving you the opportunity for a new start. And I just heard new direction as well. Yeah, and that's what 5s are talking about. So new direction, movement, adaptability. It's like the wind. I was talking about the wind blowing and the kind of like the branches of the tree being able to move with it so that it doesn't break. And that's what we see here is in the Ace of Swords, which is the element of air. And air and fire work really well together. You know, fire needs air to, well, the right amount of air in the right way to be able to bolster it up and allow it to thrive. So, wow. And another fire sign, and another ace too. So, Ace of Wands. I feel like this 5 energy that you're seeing, group number 2, is helping you to kind of find your groove again. If you felt stuck in a rut, I just heard creative block. Okay, so if you had creative block, the 5 energy and seeing 555s is getting you unstuck. They keep showing me a stick in the mud, so it's like it's getting you out of the mud or the quagmire of this lack of movement, lack of progress, feeling trapped and unable to move forward. The fives come in and they shift things for you. They change your circumstances, they upend things, and they give you these opportunities, either new ideas, new creative inspirations or insights. These two energies, very creative, and it can be through experiences that you're having. It's kind of like the energy of being too much in your head and getting stuck or trapped in this rut, or too much in a particular routine that's kind of boring. And the five energy inspires you to take a different route to work, or just go for a walk in a way that you normally wouldn't, or to try a new skill or hobby. And in doing so, getting into the experience of it, getting your hands into it and really, doing something differently, it inspires you in a way that really shifts and gets you out of that stuckness and re-inspires you. So that's really what I'm seeing. And I love that for you, group number 2. I love that for you. So let's take a look at some oracle cards. We're going to go in with the Amenti Oracle deck. So for group 2, when they're seeing the number 555, I do actually feel, okay, it's those 2, 3. I am trustful in my relationships. I feel like this is the universe kind of asking you to trust. Can you trust that these divine interventions or redirections or like shakeups, but in a good way, are helping you to get clear on the direction you want to go, or a new inspiration that you might have, and get unstuck? Because I think that's really important. And when it comes to working with angels and spirit and the divine in general, being able to trust yourself is kind of the foundation upon which that is built. And I'm going to be teaching all about that in my upcoming course in February, Unlocking the Magic Within. If you guys are interested, stick around to the end of the reading. I'll talk more about that. But I really feel like this trustful relationship that you have with yourself and the divine, which are basically just two sides of the same coin, they're going to help you to develop the strength to be able to move outside your comfort zone, because that's what fives do. They do kind of put you outside your comfort zone, but in a good way, because they inspire growth and expansion. I give blessings. Well, that's what Jupiter does. And we were getting that Jupiterian energy with this number 555, or any repeating numbers of fives. So the blessings are going to come when you are able to have the strength to take some steps, to take some action. 5 is an action energy. It's not introspective. It's not about sitting back and resting on your laurels. Although the 2 of Pentacles here is a little bit of a relaxed energy, that's fine. But it's kind of like taking action to do things that relax you. It's like the energy of taking action to book a vacation and then going on that vacation and doing the things that relax you or re-inspire you or whatever it is. So it's those type of blessings that are required of us to participate in them, especially if it's about redirection, especially if it's about movement or travel or changing your home. 5s can come up when there's like a need to change where you live, or to go on a trip, or to just move more, like physically, like I gave the example of taking a different route to work. It can be as simple as that, but it varies from person to person. So again, I always recommend that when we're talking about these angel numbers and activations, pay attention to what's coming up for you around the time that you're seeing these sequences, and you'll probably see them more than just once. If you're seeing any number sequence, usually they'll come up several times over a day or several days or even months. And that's how you can start to kind of associate the context with what's going on, if you can pay attention to that. I remain in balance with my emotions. Okay, so that's really cool, because you have the 2 of Pentacles, which is about balance, and then you have this balance card as well, yin and yang. So 5 is going to help you balance some things out, group number 2. And it's, I think, part of the energy or the blessing of 5, your group 2, but for the energy of 5, the blessing is actually about having the strength to surrender, because it is an action-oriented energy, which is yang energy, right, in the yin-yang equation. And that's masculine and doing oriented and physically implementing. Like I said, it's an action oriented energy 5, but it's balanced perfectly with the surrender to be able to adapt and move with the energy that's flowing through and to you and the environmental circumstances. So this is a really nice way to bring balance to things. Balancing things out so that you get unstuck. It's actually those 3. Okay, that's more than I was expecting. But that's okay. We're going to find a way to make it fit. Reconsider. Okay, I did mention 2s, and because we have balance, the 2 of Pentacles and reconsider, this is reminding me of 2s, which are about choices, making decisions, choosing a direction. And so I did mention the number 2 when I mentioned group 2, but I meant to say number 5, as in 555. So you might want to watch the number 2 reading as well. I will link the other 111222333 reading down in the description box. But there could be something in this equation that requires you to choose, right? It's like choosing which direction you want to go, choosing what hobby to take, choosing which direction or path. You've got an Ace of Swords and an Ace of Wands, so these could even be like 2 different directions that you're going to go, or a different way of doing something. Even if it's the same thing, it's like there's probably multiple ways you could do it. So it is making some of these choices and executive decisions. I just heard, making executive decisions about the direction that you're going to go to get yourself unstuck from a position where you were kind of in limbo, you know? It's like, it doesn't matter which direction you choose. The number 5 just wants you to move. So any direction is a good direction. Yeah. It's up to you. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that's what Spirit wants to drive home to you, group number 2, is that it is up to you, and they want you to make this decision to choose your own direction. Part of that is about surrendering and allowing the natural flow to guide you. And part of that is about choosing for yourself and then taking action and moving in that direction. Wow, interesting. You have a timing card within the next few weeks. Yeah, so the number 5 can indicate that some things are changing. That's one of the predominant energies of 5, is change. And that's why it requires us to adapt or move or make a decision or take action. So there's something happening, group number 2, in the next few weeks. So again, pay attention to when you're seeing those 5s. What's coming up? What are you thinking about when you're seeing that number? What was happening around you when that number appeared? And keep track of that over the course of days or weeks, and you'll start to see a theme. Or sometimes you won't see the theme until after. Like, it's hindsight's 2020, right? And sometimes it takes us having the context of how this unfolds to really see how it unfolds and what it actually meant. But that's why tracking things can be helpful. Okay. Oh, that's too much. But I'll take the card that fell on the bottom here: Descending Power, Ascended Master Lao Tzu, and Zincite, I think. I'll actually... Oh, look at that. You've got the Fool on the bottom. I was just going to set this to the side, but then I just kind of had this impulse to look at the bottom. The Fool card is the traveler. It's the adventurer. It's the main character going on their journey, starting fresh. That's 5s. So I like that. That really fits well. Now, Descending Power, I'm curious about this. It's giving me root chakra energy because of the color red and this particular crystal. I'm not super familiar with Zincite. You do have Crystal Master 333 here. So 2s and 3s could be significant. 2s being about decisions, choices, balance, which is mentioned here, and 3s being about creativity and new beginnings therein, which we talk about in the other reading. But yeah, for you, group 2, I feel like I did just get a message about challenge. What's that about, Spirit? Oh, it's kind of like this is a fun little channel. I mean, it depends on how you perceive it, but I'm seeing it, and the way they're showing it to me energetically is that this is like a fun little challenge for you to get yourself down off of some kind of cross that you've been stuck up on. You know, the hanged cat, the hanged man is an energy of being like strung up and immobilized. It's being in limbo or waiting for something or making some kind of a sacrifice temporarily so that you can eventually have some clarity and be able to move forward. But I think in this case, the Descending Power is like basically stepping into your power and then choosing to either walk away from something or towards something, or just basically applying the power in a directed external way. Does that make sense? Because root chakra and the pentacles are both grounded earth energy, and this is practical action and movement. I do keep getting that energy of travel, so it's like connecting to the earth. Just go for a walk, see where it takes you, get in your car and let spirit direct you somewhere you've never been before. That's a great way to embrace the number 5, and it's just kind of like serendipity, letting your intuition guide the way and kind of see where you end up. That can be a fun exercise, especially around trusting your relationship with spirit and your intuition. I've done that a couple of times. I'll go GPS-less and let my intuition or spirit be my GPS and then see where it takes me. And it's always really, really interesting. So this could be something, especially if you've been stuck in the energy of like rigidity, right? Balance this out with some fluidity. And if you've been too fluid, then maybe having a little bit more balance in the practical action and just balance is what I'm seeing, basically, to summarize it. So within the next few weeks, group number 2, there could be an opportunity for you to take action in a new way, or you may be called to take action in a new way, using and exerting your power in a really authentic, inspired, expressive way. And I think you're going to be receiving a lot of blessings. You're also going to be giving blessings because you're not going to feel quite so stuck anymore, and things will just flow a little bit easier and freely. They just showed me the bird up in the corner of this card here, looking at that one pentacle. So it does feel like freedom. Birds represent freedom to me. It's like being able to fly wherever you want, letting the wind carry you. And we were seeing that with the Ace of Swords and the element of air. So be free, group number 2, and see where the wind takes you. It's guiding you somewhere good, is what they just said. Yeah. All right, so that's what I see for you, group number 2. I hope you enjoyed this reading. Keep in mind that this is just a little bit of a dive into what 5 means, but it can also vary from person to person, and it's such a subjective thing. Yes, the numbers have their own meaning, and yes, the reading is talking about a specific message, but you also want to pay attention to what it means for you in terms of context. And like I said, sometimes it's helpful to pay attention to what's going on. Sometimes it's really only in looking back and seeing how things unfolded that you'll really be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together. But if you guys are interested in developing your intuition, expanding your psychic abilities, and learning the language of spirit, I'm going to offer a course coming up in February 2024, which is going to help you do that. It is a deep dive 6-month course with 12 installments of live classes where we're going to be diving deep into how to work with your intuition, how to identify what it is, expanding your psychic abilities and potential, learning the language of synchronicities and symbols to work with spirit more efficiently and effectively to better your life and empower yourself in this lifetime, in this incarnation, on this spiritual journey. So if you guys are interested in working with me and learning all of these wonderful tools that spirit has taught me personally in my journey, then sign up for Unlocking the Magic Within. This is your opportunity to really expand your trust in your relationship with yourself, your intuition, and spirit. So the link is in the description box below, and I believe the booking will open mid-January. So if you're watching this before then you might have to come back to it at a bit later date, but reserve your spot as soon as you can, and I hope to see you there. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here on the channel. We'll see you in the next reading. Bye. All right, hi group 3. Welcome to your reading. You guys chose 666. Now, first thing, we're going to get tarot, we're going to get oracle, but I want to talk about the numerology of 6s and what I've experienced working with spirit around these particular repeating number patterns. First of all, these are angel numbers. Yes, definitely they do have specific meanings, but they're also highly subjective, and especially when it comes to spiritual growth and expansion, they're also activation codes. So they teach you lessons, they activate your consciousness, they allow you to expand and experience new things. So number 6 is not one to be feared, you guys. I know it's like the mark of the beast in religion and things like that, but it is related to the devil, but not in the religious sense. It's like the devil card in the tarot. It's related to the energy of disempowerment. It's where we give our power away, where we go into lack, scarcity, fear, doubt, things like that. But the shadow, that's the shadow side of 6 anyway. Now, the higher side of 6 is harmony, balance, relationships, the home, connections to family and friends. It's actually very cozy and comfy and nurturing. So it's interesting when you look at kind of the dichotomy between those two very opposite energies. 6s can also be about as above, so below. So it's this mirroring effect that we sometimes see. And I've especially seen that in regard to 6s letting me know that something is out of whack. It's like if I've gone into fear or scarcity, I'll start seeing 666 that shows me, oh, there's something I need to nurture within myself, because as above, so below, what I'm feeling internally is going to express on the outside. As within, so without, as above, so below. It's the same concept. So it's like this internal, external balance that we need to find to basically take responsibility and nurture the parts of us that are feeling disconnected. And that's what 6s can actually help you do, is get more connected and feel safer, to be able to trust the relationship you have with yourself, with source, with God, with your family, your friends, your soul tribe, etc. So let's get some information for you, group number 3, in regard to why you may be specifically seeing these repeating number of 6s. Now, I do recommend that you write down when you're seeing them, what's going on around that time, what you're thinking, what the context is, because learning through association is going to help you to identify what this subjectively means for you. Yes, there are objective representations numerologically, things like that, but I find it's best if you really stick to your own interpretation, because spirit will speak to you in a very specific language than from someone else. You know, it's like a personal thing, personal dialogue. So you have the High Priestess. Wow, I love that. The High Priestess is like this very intuitive, psychic, secret keeper. She's the as above part of the as above, so below. It's like the wisdom keeper, the knowledge seeker, the expanded consciousness that allows you to see beyond the veil. So this is a great opportunity for you, group number 3, to see something that you haven't seen before. And the number 666 is trying to help you do that. The 10 of Pentacles, it could have to do with money. Now, that's the thing, because as I was saying, the number 6 in my experience has shown me where I was in lack. You know, the Devil card is a very physical energy. It's to do with the physical impulses, the physical world, temptations, indulgences, and money can be a big part of that, or even just like physical things in general. Food, substances, things like that can be represented there as well. But the 10 of Pentacles is a really stable and abundant energy. It's the opposite of lack. It's the opposite of scarcity. It's like generational wealth that will last not only in your lifetime, but for lifetimes to come after. It's the legacy you leave behind. And it's interesting that we have this highly spiritual, non-physical energy paired with the physical expression of that as well. It's like spiritual abundance leads to physical abundance. That's what I'm saying. As above, so below. As within, so without. So we're getting real direct confirmation of that already in your reading, group number 3. I actually feel this card on the bottom. The Hanged Cat. This came up in group 2's reading for 555 as well. And so it's like getting yourself unstuck, or unstringing yourself from these confines or restrictions around what you can create or experience in this life. It is about kind of reining yourself in and not letting things become excessive or imbalanced. But it's also not about abstaining completely and denying yourself the physical pleasures of life, because that is part of the spiritual experience. So 6s can show you how to create harmony therein. It's like balancing these two things out. And it is a balance of spirituality and the physical experience, because that's what we're here to do, right? Like, we're here to be spiritual beings, but we're here to have a physical experience. So that's what we're doing. The Emperor. I like that. It's like, this is powerful energy, first of all. And they just said it needs to be used correctly. And the Emperor here looking very luxurious. He's sitting in his leather armchair, very plush, warm fire. He's being served grapes on a tray. So it does feel like this luxury and abundance that kind of goes along with the Ten of Pentacles. It's like being in a leadership position, being in a position of power, feeling strong, feeling capable, being able to direct yourself through your will, and to have a physical experience that feels abundant for you. But the thing that needs to be balanced and worked with responsibly, especially when you're seeing the number 666, is how are you going about that? Are you going about it in a way that is aligned with your soul? Is it in integrity or is it not? And finding how you can create the balance there. Okay, we have the Page of Pentacles. We've got a lot to do with the physical, the earth elements, money, luxury, the body, stability, security. The Moon. Ooh. The Moon card is one of the most fascinating cards in the tarot, I think, because it's the unknown. It's like, how do we kind of wrap our heads around something that has no parameters? How do we understand something that cannot be defined? It's the infinite, it's the balance of light and dark, it's the unknown, and same thing with the High Priestess. This is also about the unknown and the beyond. So I think that's what this 6 sequence is kind of showing you, group number 3, is like there's something here that you're not seeing the full picture of. But if you can feel into it, because the Moon card, even though we can't define it, even though we can't categorize it or compartmentalize it, if we can feel into it and trust what we feel and kind of surrender to that and allow the divine to guide us in what feels right, then we start to see things a little bit more clearly, or we start to get the indications of what to do. And I feel like this Page of Pentacles is kind of showing that. It's like he's on this scavenger hunt. I always get that energy from this card, and he's looking at this pentacle on the ground and he's like analyzing, is this the right thing in terms of what I'm looking for? Or is it not? And sometimes I'm getting that song, you can't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you get what you need. Yeah. So it feels like this is that kind of a situation for you, group number 3. It's not about getting what you want, it's about getting what you need and learning to tell the difference. And sometimes wants can become needs if we lean into them enough. Or sometimes needs can feel like wants if it's aligned with our soul. Does that make sense? Bottom of the deck energy is the Wheel of Fortune. It's like fate, fate guiding things here in a big way. And the number 6s are indication that there's some kind of a change in your physical reality that you don't see. It's veiled to you to a degree, but it's like there's infinite abundance there that you might not be seeing or tapping into. And the number 6s are trying to show you the balance between these energies and how they can harmonize better and how you can step out of lack by meeting your needs in the moment and being able to identify what those are. Because I think a lot of the time, sometimes we conflate wants into needs, but that's not actually the case. So it's coming from that feeling, intuitive perception to be able to begin telling the difference or to discern between them. I remain in balance with my emotions. Okay, this one came up in group 2 as well, and I thoroughly shuffled these decks. So you might want to watch group number 2, the 555 reading. There could be some additional information there, or if you're seeing 5s in addition to the 6s, that could be just more confirmation for you, group number 3. But remaining in balance with your emotions, the yin and the yang here, again, as above, so below, as within, so without. It's balancing everything out. That's what 6s are there to help you do. It's not this mark of evil or anything like that. It's really not. It's just showing you where things have become imbalanced and how you need to balance them out. Sometimes it's through being accountable, taking responsibility. Sometimes it's through trusting and surrendering. Sometimes it's through creating some kind of structure. Other times it's through just letting go entirely and letting fate take the wheel or things like that. So it really depends on your situation. And that's why I recommend that you track these things, track these numbers, write it down, kind of like freehand journal what is going on around you, the times that you're seeing these numbers, and you'll start to see the connections. You'll start to see what this number sequence is trying to teach you or bring your attention to. I am humble. Yeah. So here's the thing about the lower side of the sixes is getting too much into the physical. It's like the distorted emperor energy of like, I'm the best and everyone needs to cater to me. And then the opposite end of that spectrum is being humble and being very grounded in that humble approach. So again, sixes will show you the balance or lack thereof of these very opposite energies, opposite polarities. Okay, let's get some of these. Are these even? Good enough. All right, group number 3. The number 555, Spirit. Meditation brings answers. Yeah, so being able to meditate and connect is going to help you to see this a lot more clearly. Group number 3, the moon card, is the unconscious mind. The high priestess is meditating and connecting to the beyond, tapping into the unconscious mind and channeling sacred knowledge or information therein. So I really, really feel that this is going to help you create balance, because you're going to see parts of yourself that you didn't before, and you're going to be able to look at those triggers or the imbalances and see them in a clearer light. Like there's going to be less distortion, less secrecy, and less delusion to them, and you'll be able to take some action. Basically, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. I actually feel those 2 cards, the one on the bottom and the top. Within the next few weeks, group number 2 had this one. So again, feel like there's messages there as well. The 5 sequences could be really important in and around the time that you're seeing the 6s. And romance. It's like, I just got the impulses, like energy of impulse. And I think that the more that you can tune into your soul, and the more core level motivations for why you do what you do, or why you think what you think, or feel what you feel, I think you're going to get a lot clearer on how you're going to direct your energy and what you're needing from this number 6 sequence. It could have to do with romance. I was saying in the beginning that this can have to do with like family and relationships and soulmates and friends and stuff like that. So in this case, we've got romance being about like soulmates or partnerships, but it's kind of like trying to harmonize certain things. And sometimes when I do a reading group number 3, I will see very clearly the message, and I'll be able to just relay it without much beating around the bush. And I feel like in this reading, I'm not seeing what's at the root or what's in that bush, so I'm kind of like beating around it, because the high priestess and the moon are creating a little bit of a barrier to the information. I think that's part of this reading, and why they've brought that up is because this is what this number 6 sequence is bringing to your awareness, is that you don't see everything clearly. It could have to do with money, could have to do with your ego and humbleness, your sense of power and control, feeling stuck, balancing things out within relationships. First of all, within yourself, and then of course externally, because as within, so without. I'm gonna keep saying that because that's what this number 6 sequence is about. It's like anything that you feel on the inside, you're going to see on the outside reflected back to you, mirrored back to you through experiences or people. And the same thing kind of goes in the other direction, vertically, when it comes to as above, so below. Everything that exists in the human realm exists to some degree in the spiritual realm as well, and vice versa. So it's like everything is just kind of mirrored, different fractals of the same thing. So if you meditate group number 3, there's going to be some answers within the next few weeks, specifically in regard to romance that you didn't see clearly before. It's like you're going to be able to actually see these clues and these hints and follow the breadcrumbs, and you're going to see something that you didn't see before. It was not clear initially, but it is now. Actually, there's 3. And it's meant to be this way. It's like you're not meant to have all the information right up front. It's a process of you uncovering this for yourself, because that's what's going to create the long-term stability of wisdom that will carry you forward through life and help you to remain in this balanced, harmonious state within and without. Discernment. Yeah. Ascended Master Hilarion and Green Chrysoprase. It's a crystal number 333 as well, so that could be significant too. The 333 reading will be linked in the description box. But yeah, group 3, I feel like this is you learning to trust yourself. Green reminds me of the heart chakra. We're seeing that there with romance. So there's definitely something here to do with relationships and harmonizing within your relationships. So discernment's really important. Balancing your emotions and being able to discern what it is you're seeing, feeling, why you're compelled to act a certain way, or why things around you are unfolding the way that they are, in a very faded sort of way. Using your discernment and seeing through the heart is going to be really helpful here. See through the eyes of love, they just said. Yeah, that's where meditation can really help you, because it opens your heart, expands your heart chakra, and then you see things more clearly. Already there is value. Goddess Matangi and Heliotrope, crystal goddess number 888. I haven't done the 888 reading yet, but stay tuned on the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll be coming out with that one shortly as well. So this has to do with love and value. And I think where those two kind of cross over, and I do think it has to do with money, and I do think it has to do with love and relationships and your sense of self. And where those cross over is worth, right? Worth applies to how we give and receive money, and it also applies to how we give and receive love. So self-worth is really kind of what the sixes are trying to show you, and there's something under the surface that they meaning spirit. I mean, I refer to spirit as a they, because it's not an it, but it's also not a he or a she, or yeah. So they are trying to help you to expand your context of your self-worth and how you can create and reflect that in a more accurate way by uncovering some things that maybe you didn't see. She shall always prevail, Goddess Isis and Isis Crystal. Another 888 energy here too. Okay, so group number 3, you will prevail. There will be clarity, that you will create some balance and harmonize some stuff here, but I feel like it is requiring you to do some serious introspection. It's like really analyze this, but in an intuitive way. So if you can meditate on this, journal it, whatever you need to do, that's really going to help anytime you see the number 6s, because it will give you the additional insight that maybe you wouldn't have had if you just saw the number and kept going about your day. It's trying to kind of teach you how to understand yourself. And in doing that, you're going to trust yourself more, because you'll be more balanced internally. You'll have better discernment, and then you'll be able to understand and really integrate your value into everything that you do and that you accept into your life. I feel like how you feel about yourself is going to improve in a very stable way long term. So if you really had low self-worth, low self-esteem, lacked confidence, and tried to kind of maybe felt stuck, or on the extreme other end of that spectrum, maybe, there's two sides to it, okay? And this doesn't have to apply to you, but these are the two sort of polarities of low self-esteem. We're either chronically undervaluing ourselves and accepting less than we deserve and really being self-deprecating and hard on ourselves, or the other end of that spectrum is going above and beyond, overboard in thinking that we are so great, like egotistical, narcissistic behaviors and things like that. And by the way, we all have narcissistic tendencies. It's part of the ego. It's like hardwired, but true narcissism is like debilitating. So that it's the difference between having indigestion once or having it as like a chronic disorder like IBS or something, right? So my point being is that there's extremes to these, and that's what we're talking about here with these different polarities, and that's what the number 6 kind of draws to your attention, is the extremes between these two different sides, these two different poles of similar energy. And what it's trying to get you to do is find your own discernment, your own self-worth, what really is that what it is that you value, and how you can embody that, express that, achieve that, etc. And you will prevail, because this is happening for you. It's not happening to you. It's for you and through you, right? So yeah, that's what I see for you, group number 3. I hope the reading helped to give you a little bit of clarity, even though this was probably not the clearest reading out of all the readings I've ever done. This one felt a little veiled to me because of the High Priestess and the Moon card. That's just kind of what they do. But you will get clarity on your own, and I think that's part of this message in and of itself. So direct your focus inward, and you'll see some stuff that you didn't maybe expect, and it's going to really help you to prevail. So if you guys are interested in learning how to do that, if you're not sure about how to meditate, if you're not sure about how to balance your emotions or how to connect to the divine and become this high priest or high priestess energy and work with the energy of the moon or the subconscious or the psychic realms, that is what I'm here to teach you, not just through these readings, but also Spirit has guided me to start offering courses and classes. You guys may have seen that I came out with Tarot 101, which is happening in January. In February, we're doing a course called Unlocking the Magic Within. This one's going to be really big, chunky, detailed, super in-depth, and highly transformational. So this is going to teach you how to connect with yourself, how to speak the language of spirit, how to really ground into the spiritual embodiment process and be able to find the power within that. So this is all of the stuff that Spirit has taught me on my own journey, and I'm here to share that with you to benefit you for the rest of your life, because these are tools, these are skills, this is knowledge that will go with you forever and help you live a more aligned and empowering life within this incarnation and beyond, right? It's like beyond just this lifetime. It really goes on for the trajectory of your soul. So if you guys are interested in me as a guide, the information I have to share and the support that I can provide, then check out the link below in the description box to Unlocking the Magic Within. The booking should open up mid-January, so if you guys are viewing the reading around that time, it will be available for booking. Get your spot if it resonates, and I hope to see you there. I love you guys, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye!